All right, welcome everyone. We're a few minutes away from getting started, so hopefully this will make sure this first group is in the room. I'll go over the ground rules here in a little bit once everyone's on. In about 4 minutes, we'll get going. So right now, just get comfortable. We should have turned off camera and audio for everyone, obviously, so the recording is good. Once we get that up and running, we'll go over questions and everything. But thank you all for being here. And we'll get started here in a couple minutes. Okay. Awesome.
So when are you taking the new snowboard and boots out?
As soon as I can, as soon as the Colorado got a good dusting today, right? Their Mammoth Mountain got snow there. So I'm hoping if I can ride in October, I'm always very happy. We also know November and then January with Olympic trial or team trials and all the events there is always a very hard time to go do that. So I like to get as much stuff in as I can, so that way when it's busy Taekwondo season, I'm not like, oh, I gotta skip US Open. Like those events are, get engraved in stone.
Well, plus you'll be cutting weight, so
January 7th, that was like a decade of our lives having trials in. So now that I see it back there, part of me is good. And those of you that are on the call that know that did that back when we had our national team selection the first week of January at OTC, because I'm sure that was the open weekend there back in the 2000s. I don't feel bad about passing that on to the next generation.
Oh, I used to like lean into it of the, oh, I hope the people that I'm fighting, I hope it ruins their Christmas. Like I hope they just have the worst Christmas. Like I used to lean into it hard of just like, I wish it was held on Christmas. Like let's make this as difficult as possible.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that to anybody now. Now I'm like, that'd be horrible. But when I was competing, absolutely. Like, let's lean into this.
Let's turn off I will take off the waiting room.
There we go.
People can just come in now. And again, if you're joining us, if you've been here in the last 30 seconds, you've been admitted. It's 3:03. We had a lot of late registrations, which is great that people are excited for our town hall. And we're excited to hear from all of you, as well as go over the upcoming year pathways, events, and more. We're going to get started here in 1 more minute at 3:05, just to make sure everyone can get comfortable. If you don't have your iced coffee, we're bringing the heat today. So.
Okay.
All right. And Stephen, how long have you been in North Carolina for?
I unpacked the last box yesterday.
That's what I thought. I didn't know if it was even complete yet.
Yeah, well, so like everything on this side of the camera looks awesome because like, all right, yeah, I got to get ready for this. Just a nightmare past the camera, and everything's out of boxes, nothing's in the right place. So
gotcha.
I'm looking forward to finally getting that put together in 7 weeks.
Well, there's that certain rule of moving that you might pack 100% of things, but somehow you only end up finding 94% of it, even though went to the moving truck to your home, you never will find it. So it is 3:05 now on East Coast time, 12:05 on Pacific. I'm gonna spotlight myself for everyone. I'm gonna give a quick overview of this once we hit record, so that way when we put this on Facebook, YouTube, and email it to the membership, everyone will not have to sit through our banter anymore. We'll get down to the town hall Q&A. Okay, so I will go and fight for everyone. All right, hey everyone, welcome to the 2023 USAT Town Hall. We're excited to go over upcoming events, competition pathways, and most importantly, your questions, comments, and feedbacks about what's happening at USA Taekwondo. I'm Coach Tim Thackeray. I'm the Director of Education for USAT, and I'll be hosting this town hall here. In the chat on the side, if you do have questions, the way the format's going to go is you'll send your question directly to me, so that way it doesn't get caught up in the chat and get missed, and I'll be making a list for each presenter. At the end of their 10-minute presentation, we'll start the Q&A. So we're not going to have all the questions at the very end. if, let's say, Katie goes first about events, she'll do a brief presentation, and then I will get as many of the questions to her that you all have to me. But if you're unsure, just on the right side, it says, there you'll find my name, Tim Thackeray, and then send me the direct message for that presenter, and we'll do it. And at the end, we might have a quick wrap up and some more Q&A, because sometimes questions do get formed along the way. So thank you all for being here. I'm excited to go over this with everyone. And first up, let's find Katie here, and I'll stop there, and let's give Katie the presenter and add her spotlight, and I will take mine away. And Katie, take it away. Well, welcome aboard, first of all. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah. So my name's Katie. I am the event manager for USA Taekwondo. I work here in the national office on all of our national level competitions. So if you haven't met me yet, definitely come up, say hello. I would love to speak with you at one of our events. And so today I'm here to talk about our 2024 season and what you guys should be expecting for national level events, for state championships, all of those sort of things. So just to start off the calendar of events for 2024, we'll be starting off with team trials. That will be January 5th through January 7th in Charlotte, North Carolina. For that, the registration will open on October 15th, and we will start sending our invitations out then. That is an invitation-only event. If you want to see if you have qualified for that event, please just look at the pathways on the USA Taekwondo website. If you believe that you qualified and you don't receive an invite by the middle of November, please reach out to us. We won't be able to send all of the invites out until after the California Lions Cup, because we need to get the final of the points out for that to be able to find our dominant athletes. So by probably about the third week of November, we should be able to send out all of the invites. And if you believe that you should be invited and you weren't, just feel free to reach out to me. My email and my phone number are on the website, so feel free to call me anytime with any questions that you may have on registration. Next up is US Open. So that will be in mid-February. We are finalizing the details on that. So the location, the exact dates, and the schedules will be released here in the next couple of weeks. Unfortunately, we have not finalized absolutely everything. So we want to make sure that we get out all the information to you guys all at once so that you can see it. But do plan for mid-February for that. Next would be our state championships. So for state championships, we are trying to make sure that those are in March and April. The sanctioning requests will start being accepted next Monday, October 9th. This week, we will be getting out the sanctioning policies and manual out to all of the state presidents so that you guys can read that over. The one big thing for that, please make sure that your board members, as well as whoever is running your event, have their safe sport and their background screenings done through the date of the event. And that will, if you make sure that you do that ahead of time before you put in your application, that will expedite the application process because we cannot approve and sanction an event until that is done. So if you need to reach out to me, if you would like to set up a Zoom call specifically about your specific state event, please feel free to email or call me, and we will set up a time sometime in the next week or two to get together and talk about it. Along with that, we are also creating a state policy manual. So we're going to basically give you a how to run a state championship. So how to set up the registration, how to run weigh-ins, how to do the seating, all of those things so that you guys can run your competitions just like we run ours and make sure that we are holding the standard for our sanctioned events. Next up is the regional qualifiers. So this is a little, there is a little bit of new information for this year. So we are not holding a central qualifier this year. This is because for state competitions, gold medalists and silver medalists will be qualifying for nationals. So with the raised number in athletes who qualify for nationals, we did get rid of one of our regional qualifiers. We have a new map of the regions. So we have an East and a West region. This map is found up on the USA Taekwondo website and will also be found in the information packets. You must attend the regional that your state lies in. If for some reason you are unable to attend that regional, you have to get permission from us. So you will reach out to me directly at my email and indicate your reasoning of why you can't attend your regional qualifier. And you will have to wait for permission from myself over email to register for the other regional. Now, with this, sorry, lost my train of thought. So you can only attend the region that your state resides in. Now, with Poomsae athletes, if you have a pair that is in another region, you are allowed to go to the other region, but again, you will have to get permission from us here in the national office. And then you are only allowed to attend one regional. We will be checking the registrations, and we will be removing anyone who registers for more than one regional. So be sure to look ahead of time, make sure that you have those dates locked and booked. And if there is any reason that you will have to miss, please email me and we can discuss the options for you. And then finally, national championships. Oh, sorry. So dates for the West Regional, that is going to be May 10th through 12th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then the East qualifier will be May 31st through June 2nd, and that will be in Lansing, Michigan. And then finally, to wrap up the season for now, we have the US Taekwondo National Championships. That will be held on July 4th through 7th in Fort Worth, Texas, in the same venue that we just had our national championship, or sorry, our Grand Prix final in. So it was a great venue. I think a lot of people had a great time there. So be sure to put that in your calendar. We will have all the registrations open on October 15th. So that will be up on Sport 80. All the info packets will be out on the website. All of those things. So set your calendar for October 15th. We will have everything posted and up. And then if you have any issues registering, please just reach out to one of the people on the events team to help you register. Now, nationals will be open, but you will not be able to register until you either qualify from states with a gold or a silver medal, or you attend one of our regionals. So for registration for next year. So we are listening. We got a lot of feedback that the late registration was something that our base did not like to see. So please know we are listening. We are taking away the late registration for next year. So there will not be any form of late registration or late registration fees. But along with this, that means that 3 weeks prior to the event, the registration will close. Now, a lot of people ask why we need those 3 weeks to get ready for the event. So when we close registration, we then begin starting to do the brackets. We figure out if we have enough mats planned for, if we have enough staffing planned for, enough referees, those sort of things. So that 3-week time period ahead of time is to make sure that the logistics of the event all fall into place. And if we need to hire more referees or we need to add a couple of extra mats, we have that time to adjust that. So there will be absolutely no late registrations taken after the registration deadline. So be sure to get in your background screening, get in your safe sport, all of that before that 3-week prior deadline, so that you can compete, because we just will not have the ability to make those exceptions for next year. Background screenings can take up to 2 weeks to maybe a month, depending on where you live, where you've lived in the past 5 years, those sort of things. So be sure to get those in early. And your background screen and safe sport does have to be valid through the end of the event for you to register. So make sure that you're looking at the dates on your Sport 80 profile as well as the dates of the event, and make sure that they line up. You are allowed to take your Safe Sport 30 days prior to it expiring, and same with your background screening. You are allowed to initiate that 30 days prior to it expiring. So please make sure that you get those in. Make sure you have a belt on your profile, and then if you are a world-class athlete competing in our national level events, please make sure you have your birth certificate or U.S. passport showing your U.S. citizenship uploaded to your Sport 80 profile as well. If you get all of those things done, you should be able to register and shouldn't have any issues. But again, if you do, the events team is here to help you and work through that. A couple other changes for next year: there will be no on-site ticket sales at all. We are moving everything to brown paper tickets, so it will all be online. You will be able to still buy the day of, but it will have to be through online. Then you will bring your receipt of payment to the registration desk at the event, and you will obtain your wristband for entry into the event. So we got a lot of feedback about on-site ticket sales and things like that. So we again are making this change for you guys just to make it a little bit easier and have it all within one system. So for next year, we've gotten a lot of questions about the cadet height weight divisions. Next year, for our national events, we are not using the cadet height weight divisions. We will be sticking with the same weight divisions that we have had for this year. So this means for team trials, cadets will have to compete at the weight that they qualified at or one weight class above. So we will not be making any weight changes on site. Again, this is part of us listening and trying to work with you guys on what is best for the athletes. And so for none of our national level competitions will we be using the height weight categories. So I think that has covered everything that I was supposed to cover, and I am more than happy to answer some questions.
Okay, I'm going to come on here and share my screen with you really quickly. The first one, though, while I get that set up, I'll just go into these. The first one was, any hints on location for US Open 2024? Figured everyone's going to have that one, so throw that to you right now.
It is a place that we have been to before, so that's where I will leave that. And again, as soon as that information is available, we will be putting it out to everyone on the USA Taekwondo website.
Perfect. Thank you. Another one, again, you went over it, but just to confirm a couple of these there, because they are very important for everyone's planning. The question is, confirm at state, if you get gold or silver, you get to go to nationals without having to attend a regional.
Correct. Okay. So if you get gold or silver, you qualify at that weight class, it's the same rules as this year as it is for next year. So if you qualify at a weight class, you can compete at that weight class or one above. You cannot go down a weight class. So just to make that absolutely clear, yes, gold and silver qualify you for nationals at the weight class that you got your gold or silver in.
Awesome. And along those lines, with a couple of these, can you please repeat the dates of the regional qualifier and locations?
Definitely. So the West Regional Qualifier is May 10th through May 12th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then the East Qualifier is from May 31st to June 2nd in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay, great. And to piggyback this, just because we're on the same category of states, the question is, if you get gold or silver at any event, can you register for the other events at nationals? Let's say you go to states, you get silver in Pumse. Can you also register for the rest of the events?
Yes, so we are keeping that across the board from this year to next year as well, that if you qualify in Pumse, you are open to register for Pumse sparring, any of the events at nationals. Same with sparring into Pumse. So qualify for nationals and you can compete in any of the divisions that are there.
Great. Next question is along those lines of states, regionals. Will there be of the major events for next year? And if so, what are those, if they're planned or just set at all?
Sorry,
what
any
are those
other
events? Is there a plan for having majors next year?
majors?
Question. Maybe that's not. It's. I'll DM that one to get a little more clarity on the phrasing of it. I think that was maybe mine, not quite so clear. I'll give you another one that's a little better here.
Yeah.
Will points for athletes who remain in the same division carry over to the next year, as in prior years? And the example is cadets moving from first year to second year. How does that work? I know we have a lot of people with questions about this.
Yes. So this past year, all the sparring points it was a clean slate starting at the beginning of the year. That is going to be the same case for sparring this year. So we will start a clean slate after team trials. There are no points at team trials. So as soon as team trials is over, then US Open will be our first point qualifying event. Now for PUMSE, we do have the 12-month carryover rule. So once that 12 months hits, then the points from that month fall off and we just continue on. So for sparring, we will keep the same as we did this past year, and PUMSE will be the same as well.
Okay, and so if they do change weight classes, then
so if they change weight classes within the year, you do not hold on to any points. Gotcha. If you go up a weight class, you will have to restart your points in that weight class.
Okay, excellent. Let me look at some of the other ones here that are important. Once we have the states, the dates there, US Open is going to be happening soon. Regionals we've got set. Let's see if I got the clarification on that question. I think that's about all the main ones I have. The other ones are maybe a little too minutia for some of the stuff and have to do with other events and scheduling pieces there that we don't control. So I'm not going to technically get into that stuff right now, even though we'll be doing there. Anything else, Katie, that now that you've finished your portion here that you'd like to reiterate for our membership or that? And again, those of you that still have questions, I'll say this, type into me again. We will have a kind of overall Q&A at the end. So if there's something that didn't get hit or I didn't say it correctly, I want to make sure that we do as much as we can to give you the information you need. So anything for you before we transition to Coach Stephen Landon?
Definitely. Yeah, I really just want to say that if you have any questions or if you're having any issues, please reach out to me or my event team, Michael Newman or Christy Simmons. We are more than happy to help you with registration, any other issues that you may have with your Sport 80 profile. Please just reach out to us. My email box is open, my phone line is open, so feel free. I am more than happy to try and help get any small issues that may come up for people fixed. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate you. I'm going to remove your spotlight. I'll do here. Next up, we're going to transition. And again, some of these questions coming up then are both about pathways, about selection pieces, which are separate technically from events. Obviously, event committee doesn't create our selection procedures there, but we'll be going over that stuff there. So I see a few of you with questions on there. So that's all great. And I'm glad we have them. And like I mentioned, we will have an overall Q&A at the end with all the presenters. Next up, I'd like to add a spotlight to Coach Stephen Landon, fresh in North Carolina. Sir, welcome aboard, even though you've been aboard, but welcome to North Carolina.
Oh, thanks for having me, Captain.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I will let you take it away. I will go on mute and stop my video. And again, for Stephen stuff, I will type it right here. Type me questions directly at Tim Thackeray so I can get a list for him at the end. But for the first 10 minutes, he'll be doing his presentation. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so I actually get to do some of the more fun stuff. Sherman will be jumping on here in just a little bit to answer some more of the specific pathway questions that I see popping up. He had a doctor's visit, a little under the weather, so vamp a little bit to buy him some time here towards the end now. But like I said, I get to do some of the more fun stuff, so talk about some of the programs that we're launching and or relaunching moving into next year. So let's see here. Real simple, and I'll share my screen. You'll have to miss out on this awesome hairdo I'm having today. But let's see here. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about, we're bringing, for those of you that haven't heard of this, which it consistently shocks me, and this is just an easy graphic to keep you off my face for a little bit. No, a lot of people don't know that we actually do this program, but next year we're going full bore in our CAP program. So this is the Coach Accelerator program. For those of you that have not heard about it, the Coach Accelerator program is essentially an opportunity for any coach that's meets the USAT standards, i.e. member, passes safe sport, all of that stuff, at prearranged times can actually come out and train and get some hands-on work at the National Academy with Gareth, myself, Paul, and the general staff. So typically speaking, coaches come out for about a week, but we've had one coach earlier this year stayed out here for 3 weeks. We know that can be a little bit difficult because an overwhelming majority of the coaches out there obviously have schools and businesses to run. And so starting in December, we're actually going to open up essentially the application process where we're going to establish our dates that the CAP program is available to membership for the first 6 months of next year. Let people apply for it. Depending on overlap and stuff, we might have to make some adjustments and stuff like that to the schedule, but looking for 1 to 2 times a month that a coach can come out, not just shadow Paul, Gareth, myself, but also get hands-on work with the organization called the USPC, the US Performance Center is the group that we partnered with out here in North Carolina, and they provide sports psychology, nutrition, basically all of those support services that our athletes use out here. But it's not just in the past, how we did it was people would just kind of come out and shadow, and it was like a soft launch. We didn't really advertise it too heavy because frankly, we weren't sure what the interest level was going to be, but it was such a success this year that we're leaning into it full bore. So it's free. Basically all the coach has to do is apply in advance. We confirm their dates, obviously. And then as long as they get out here, they can stay out here and shadow and see how we're training athletes like CJ Nicholas, Michaela, Faith, all these elite level athletes like Anna. The cool part about the CAP program moving forward for this year is we're actually applying and leaning into the university. And so we're going to be adding an online learning component, for lack of a better way to describe it, because I'm still working on the verbiage for it, but essentially an onboarding process. So that way we can avoid some of the hiccups we found this year where, yeah, I show up and I don't really know what to expect. I'm kind of thrown in the deep end a little bit. And yeah, it's a great experience, but I wish I had known X, Y, and Z. So we've taken the feedback we've gotten from the first handful of coaches, applying it to an actual onboarding process to hopefully smooth that out a little bit. Go through your week or however long you stay out in North Carolina working. And then we have essentially a post CAP program workshop where, hey, all right, now that you have these tools, now that you've got these things from the academy, here's how you can actually apply it at your gym, and here's how you can leverage it into your current program and make it your own. Because one of the big goals that Paul and Gareth have are that get everyone not necessarily on the same lingo nationwide or using the same training techniques, but get an overall level of proficiency that everybody understands, so that way, for example, if your athlete shows up at a national academy camp, they go, oh, I already know this drill. And because I know it, I can excel in front of Paul and Gareth and increase my likelihood of being brought into the athlete pipeline. So yeah, it'll be not just working with the staff, not just working with the coaches that are out here, but the US Performance Center staff will be doing some hands-on stuff, sports psychology, nutrition for athletes, and then also just getting to work with our elite level athletes, again, like Anna, CJ, Faith, all these high-performing athletes. Let's see here. Share screen. We'll go back to this. The next thing I'm pretty excited about, we're going to be relaunching the regional academy system for sparring. Frankly, in the past, the regional academies weren't quite set up in a way that I thought was conducive to success. Moving forward, frankly, we heard and we listened to the feedback of participants at these regional academies. and revising our process moving forward. First of all, because I know it's one of the bigger questions that's going to come out of it, we're finalizing the exact percentages, but an overwhelming majority of the money that comes out of these academies, i.e., it cost me $100 to register for, this regional academy training camp. Overwhelming majority, if not all, obviously we'd need to cover like Stripe expenses and stuff like that, but overwhelming majority of the money is going to go right back into that region. So we're actually, and I know this is where I'm sure I'm going to get some interesting questions, because yes, there's only 2 regional qualifiers next year, but as far as the sparring academies are concerned, we're actually expanding it to 4. So we're going to have the North, the South, the East, and the West. Pretty simple. But I didn't think it was particularly reasonable for, say, someone in Michigan to have to go to Houston to try and do a regional training camp. It's still not ideal, right? Like, the United States is a huge place. It's where we are, unfortunately, from a competitive standpoint, not Europe. I can't take a 2-hour train and go fight an open in another country. It's just not the way our system works. But how we're going to be gearing these regional academies is that we're looking for one event per quarter with this regional academy at the start of the year, probably February, depending on how timing breaks out for some other events, because we don't want to overlap and make people choose. Each of these regional academies is going to name a team. It's not going to be a full 16-person senior, 16-person junior team. It's going to be a smaller group. So somewhere between 6 and 10 athletes are going to be picked, receiving funding directly out of the funds raised by that regional academy. Because again, like I said at the beginning, the money that's coming out of those regional academies is not going to be going to USAT. It's going to be going directly back to those athletes, and then stacking the deck with perks for those athletes. Not just the athletes that get named, they'll get specific perks that we're working on right now. Like, for example, specific opportunities to work with Paul and Gareth at the academy, work with them at things like US Open, big events moving forward, but the entire membership for that regional academy. Like I said, looking to have at minimum 1 event per quarter that's open to the entirety of that region's members. Because again, like I said earlier, not just with the coaching, the goal is that we raise the water level for all athletes. And as a lot of you guys know, it's hard to just pick up and go, all right, yeah, I'm going to go train in North Carolina for a week. Like, doesn't really work for a lot of people. It didn't work whenever I was competing. And so the goal is taking those national academy standards, breaking them into regions, and eventually lining up some honestly pretty cool things that we have down the line that, frankly, I'm trying to get launched in 2024. Truth be told, the 2.0 of this process is we get things up and running next year. My goal is to actually add and break those larger regions into a couple of smaller regions. So that way there's even more opportunity for athletes. And again, say athlete way on this side of the country doesn't have to go halfway across the country. The goal is to add more regions, but obviously we have to get it up and running first. I didn't like the way it was originally launched. I didn't like the way it was originally run. So this is an overview of a complete revamp from top to bottom. A bulk of the coaching staff for those is staying the same. There's are carrying over, i.e. like Ed Givens, stuff like that. We're changing our coach in the southern region, formerly the central region. The list of staff and the regional academy centers will be announced in late November, with a general schedule of what they're going to do, what the perks are, when their events are going to be, everything like that. So again, you have the schedule way in advance, because believe me, as a former athlete, I hear you guys when you say like, the further out you give me dates, the better. Absolutely. And so that's what we're trying to do. We'll try and have that first 6 months clear as day, so that way everybody knows when and where they need to be to potentially be on that regional academy team. Let's see here. Did I skip anything on that? Nope, that's pretty much covered that. I'm sure there'll be a plethora of questions, but again, macro high level overview. Let's see here. The last thing that I'm pretty excited about today, let's see here. hopefully everybody can see it. It's acting weird on this one, but launching what we're calling the Poomsae Podium series. Frankly, I think our Poomsae group has been underserved in the sense that you are an extremely large part of our community and a very valuable part of our community. The important thing to note here is that this isn't just the only program we're going to be doing for Poomsae. Coach Brand already has some cool stuff that she's working on. I'm just kind of taking one of the programs that we're launching in 2024 because don't want to take the whole hour just talking about my stuff. There are other people that need to talk. But so the Poomsae Podium program is one of the big complaints that we've heard from our Poomsae community is that, hey, you know, I live in middle of nowhere. I won't pick a state. I'll just say middle of nowhere. I don't really have access to a Poomsae coach. Like, I need help. What resources can USAT provide me? And in fact, in the past, not a ton, to be honest with you. So the idea behind this is that, first of all, I'll go ahead and specify, because I know it'll be the first question, 100% of the profits from this Poomsae Podium program are going back towards the athletes that qualify for World Championships next year, the Poomsae athletes. That being said, this is going to be approached as essentially a subscription service. We're going to keep it super cheap. We haven't landed on a number yet, but I'm thinking somewhere between $10 and $20. So super cheap, very easily affordable. 100% of the money goes back to the athletes. And it's going to be a monthly online training program where we bring in high-level coaches and high-performing athletes to run Poomsae sport-specific online clinics. So, for example, we might have Coach AJ jump on one Sunday and, hey, we're going to run through this Sunday's program is going to be on comp prep. All right, hey, here's what I do, here's what I have my athletes do, et cetera, et cetera. The next clinic might be on Alex Lee is running the perfect sidekick. You know, each of them will take something that they specialize in and give you, and the goal is to take the tools of our highest performing Poomsae athletes and again raise that level of competitive excellence in the United States for all Poomsae athletes. Like I said, 100% of the money is going to go straight back to the Poomsae team. That is my primary intrinsic motivation for this program. Yes, I want to make everybody better, but one of the pushbacks that I got was, oh, well, what if over 6 months it only makes $1,000? As far as I'm concerned, that's $1,000 that goes back in the Poomsae athletes' pocket that they weren't necessarily getting to begin with. So again, my goal is to make it absolutely as successful as possible. But as far as I'm concerned, if, oh, hey, we paid for the hotels for these athletes, or they got this money, they got their meals covered, whatever it is, anything's better than nothing. Because I know, and I'm sure it'll pop up in a question, but I know everybody likes to say, well, USAT doesn't provide funds for the Poomsae athlete. How our funding structure works is that the USOC gives us money and it has to be spent in a very, very specific way. And even though, honestly, in a lot of ways, Poomsae is much harder than sparring, I couldn't do what you guys do. But at the end of the day, it's when the budget has been set out and earmarked by the USOC, our hands are tied in a lot of ways. And so, honestly, tired of not being able to help you guys. And one of several programs we're getting ready to launch for next year is this online Poomsae Podium program. Make you guys better athletes, gear it towards the intermediate. Hey, I'm not quite where I want to be, but you know, I've got a lot of potential. I just don't necessarily have a coach or resources. Gear it towards you guys and put money in the Poomsae athletes' pockets. The number one goal of that whole program. So I'm sure my Poomsae people in the chat will be blowing Tim up with questions about that one. And hey, I'm ready for you. The plan for launching that one will be have the schedule and all the logistics and details out in December. So that way we can hit the ground running in January, because January is pretty packed. And so again, just like all of the programs, I intend to have not just the dates for the first 6 months of next year, but also have hey, here's the coach that's on this date. He's running this program. Oh, we're having this sports psych in. They're doing a clinic on this one. So you know exactly what you're getting for the first 6 months. Because again, It's as much as I want to fund the Poomsae athletes, I also want to increase the competitive capability of all of our Poomsae athletes in the United States. So the last thing I've got for you, if some of you guys have seen it, maybe some of you guys haven't. This year I've been doing the level up camps with the whole goal of taking the tactics and training methodology of the National Academy and taking it, frankly, to the people, so to speak. When I say taking it to the people, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have been able to just pick up shop and go train in North Carolina. So I'm bringing the North Carolina training tactics to you guys. Overwhelmingly successful. Just like the Poomsae Podium program, the money from the level up camps goes directly back to the athletes. We've raised over 60 grand already for athletes, worked with, I think last I saw is over 450 athletes. Level up camps are going to continue next year. They're probably going to become more select in the sense that quite possibly one level up camp per quarter, obviously still around the country, but the 2.0 of the level up camps has always been moving into the champion seminar. We've got 2 champion seminars coming up, one in Michigan with Paul Green, our coaching director, and world champ Michaela Greenwood, and then one in New Jersey in November with, everybody knows him, CJ Nicholas and Gareth Brown. The idea behind those champion seminars are, hey, you've gone to those level up camps. That's where you get the baseline, like, okay, I learned how to do these drills that they're doing. Those champion seminars are the 2.0 thinking of it. It's where, I get to loop in some of our elite athletes, so I get to help put money in their pocket because, as you guys know, you guys see the USAT posts, they fight a bajillion tournaments a year. So I'm getting to put money in our high-level athletes' pockets so they can continue to do what they do, go get points, and keep dominating at world championships and stuff. But then also, just like every other program I'm trying to launch, raising that competitive standard. Okay, you know the drills of the National Academy now. Now you get hands-on work with the actual national coaching director, the head national team coach. And all right, hey, you guys know the baseline. Great. All right, now let's actually start to work the 2.0, the next level of those drills. Oh, you guys are great at that. All right, let's take it a step further. A little bit more hands-on with them, and again, designed to be that next step after the level up camp. You hit a level up camp, great. I love you. Would love to have you back. Those level up camps, every single one of them are different. I've never done the same syllabus at any 2 level up camps. So every level up camp is different. But as much as I like to pat myself on the back, there's a reason that Gareth and Paul have produced so many world medalists and Olympic medalists. They're one of a kind. And so the champion seminar is the 2.0 of the level up camp. Like I said, we have 2 coming this last quarter and a slew of them that we're about to announce in quarter 1. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure you've gotten the, for lack of a nicer way to put it, the email spam from me if you live in those areas, but keep an eye on your emails. And yeah, Paul, Gareth, and one of our elite performing athletes, I'm sure, are coming to a general area near you. So just to recap really quick, Coach Accelerator program, we're leaning into that heavy next year. Details, logistics, everything like that, where to sign up, late November, early December. Regional academies, again, exact same thing. Logistics, all the good stuff, late November, early December, so that way you can plan. The Poomsae Podium program, logistics, who's going to be running each session, when the dates are, how it fits in, topics they're going to be covering. Going to be open to sign up for that subscription, and we'll kick it off first thing in January. And then, yeah, more level up camps coming your way and champion seminars coming your way. So that's about all I had. I tried to keep it as concise as possible. I'm sure there's a bajillion questions about each one of those. So, or maybe I did a good job for once and I actually explained things. So
No, not at all. Yes, you actually
no, not at all.
did a great job there. And we have a few questions for you. I'm sure some more will come in there. I did get another message here. Someone said great job. So it is confirmed.
Oh, all right, sweet.
Membership, you did a great job. By data is backing it up. First question is a lot about the CAP program, and people seem to be excited about this, and it really is a special thing we're doing. Is it offered for Poomsae is right now just sparring or Olympic qualifying events. Can you clarify any of this? Because I know people are excited to, which is great. Like you said, the Poomsae membership is about to have big upgrades coming their way in a lot of ways.
So I don't want to tip my hand yet because we're still working on logistics of exactly how to do that. Yeah, there will be one coming for Poomsae. It's not gonna launch at the same time as sparring because, like I said, the USOPC, excuse me, doesn't fund Poomsae like they do sparring. It's just the money's not there, and so figuring out the logistics for that exponentially harder. We don't have a resident national academy program for Poomsae. Some say yet, but again, I don't want to tip my hand on future events, but a Poomsae version of that is coming, just not quite at the same time as sparring.
Great. Next one, and again, this is maybe just something we can pass on to staff. I want to make sure everyone's stuff gets addressed so we can. For the Coach Accelerator program, any working with either state associations for this, or I guess questions on digital marketing help to promote that to each state's coaches? So maybe not so much a question, just something they want to have addressed.
As Sherman did his meeting with I'm pretty sure he hit a bulk of the state presidents. I am all about, just like the Level Up camps, involving the state organizations in any way that we can. In truth, state organizations are the lifeblood of the organization. At the end of the day, if we go around them, it doesn't work. When we include state organizations, programs work almost seamlessly because, again, it's you can have the greatest program in the world, but instructors are the ones that see their students. State organizations are the ones that run local things. And so it's like, yeah, whoever that was, if you want to touch base with me, you can shoot me a message after I'm done talking and we can tie off. But yeah, if you have ideas on how to loop in your state organization, I'm all about it. I want to get the states involved as much as possible in 2024.
Yeah, there's nothing a lot more than everyone being able to play together and working with everyone there. So that's a great insight. Can you reiterate a couple questions on the Poomsae Podium program?
Yeah,
looking to start early 2024, I think was what you mentioned, but I want to make sure they get that directly from you because.
Oh, not looking to start. We will start in January of 2024. The logistics and sign up will open up in late November, early December. The only reason it's not opening earlier is I am gone this whole month for the China Grand Prix and Pan Am Games, and those are hectic enough. But late November, early December at the latest. I'm trying to under promise and over deliver. It's gonna be legit.
Awesome. And one more piece here about the New Jersey Level Up and Champion Seminar. I guess, what's kind of nice is a lot of things you have people have very specific questions on it. So that's great. They're saying they're not seeing it. Would it be in Sport 80 is where they should go because they're saying they have not seen that. So I'm not sure about launches and all the other pieces that go with that. So can you break down how both this specifically, and then if someone did want to look and find out about Level Up, Champion Seminar, et cetera, where do they go to find this information?
Yeah, bingo. So there's a couple of things. First of all, I would say when you're in Sport 80, do us a favor and in your settings, just make sure you're subscribed. Because again, if you're subscribed, you should get emails on this. And if you're not getting emails, I'd check your spam folder. If there's still nothing in there, reach out to me and I will make sure you get back on that list personally. The kicker for all camps and seminars is when you go into Sport 80, there's events and then there's development. Camps and seminars are under development. Why Sport 80 does it like that, I have no idea. It drives me nuts. Pretty much once a week, I get that exact same question. So I would say, click on development and then you'll find all announced upcoming events. Oh, and I should say there's also our media person, Donna, has killed it. And on USA Taekwondo's webpage, there's actually, I believe it's under education. I'd have to look. But there's also all announced camps on our USA Taekwondo actual website.
Awesome. Any final pieces you'd like to reiterate, sir, before we transition there for you?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate everybody coming. I know it's always a hassle to join these things, especially when you're waiting to just ask one question. So we appreciate everybody's patience. We appreciate everybody coming in with questions ready to ask and locked in and engaged. And as always, just like on all those Level Up Camp emails, and I'll put it in the chat here in a second, my email, my personal number are on every single one of those. So if you have a problem, even if it's something unrelated that you need help with, shoot me an email, pick up the phone and call me. I can be slow to respond in the sense that, like, if I got a random number from Nova Scotia, but if you leave me a message, I promise I will try and get back to you, and I will try and help with your problems. Just like Katie said, the phone lines are open. So the days of like, yeah, I can't get anybody at USAT to respond. Okay, are you sure about that? Like, reach out to one of us, because we've taken it as a point of personal pride that no question goes unanswered. It can be crazy and no, sir, that's USA Judo. That's not us. But your question will get answered. Okay.
Awesome. And thank you. What is that? I was actually just typing up the best way to contact you is
email for sure. Just because I tend to be in God knows where countries. slambden@usat.org. It's in there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. And again, I think Katie Cleveland put hers up there. Hers is kcleveland@usat.org as well. I will make sure and copy that and post it here to everyone. Sent to me. Here we go. Let me get that to the group. Okay. Thank you, Coach. And we'll come around for final questions here in a minute. I'll mute you and I'll turn the camera off. He was just becoming sentient also. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the university courses and educational pieces we do. Again, my name is Coach Tim Thackeray. I'm the Director of Education, USA Taekwondo. You'll see a lot of stuff that I'll do with online education. And a big reason for that is because of all the travel with competition schedule, like Coach Landon said, in and out of the country, in and out of areas and regions. We didn't have these opportunities when I was coming up, when I was on the national team in the early 2000s for USA. We had a few competitions a year, and that was a busy year for us. And now it's not. So I try and lean really heavily on online learning for a few reasons for you. I want to get more educational pieces out to everyone, and then it allows you to customize the learning that you need, no matter what type of stakeholder you are in our organization. If you're an athlete, if you're a coach, if you're what I call support staff, meaning you're a mom, you're a trainer, you're someone who's very engaged in this. We have created a bunch of different offerings in the last couple of years here, from everything starting off. All we had was the level 1 modern sport taekwondo course. Now we have dozens of courses, everything from totally free, no cost courses for you, to going up all the way up to, like, you want to get the whole modern sport taekwondo package. You can get feedback and training at your level. There's no requirement to do that. So we really want to make sure that you get the value of any of these is based on you knowing you can improve from them, and not that we're going to try and tie your hands behind your back to do them. They are there, and the numbers are great, meaning we just launched a few courses for coaches. Those were, let's see, effectively coaching Gen Z was one, and then creating a culture of belonging that I worked with the USOPC on, and those are absolutely free courses to our coaches. So I'll make sure you know you can go there, and there'll be something for everyone. I'll start at the top, give us a quick rundown here. Since the last 2 years, we've launched now level 2, the 201, level 3, and then finally now the pre-sales coming up for level 4, which is becoming world-class. And this is our most advanced course offering yet that Coach Paul Green and Coach Gareth Brown have put together for you all. It's what the name implies. The reason we felt like we had to call it becoming world-class is that's what the data shows, right? We've had Olympic gold medalist from Tokyo 2021, right? World champion Michaela Greenwood 2022, world finalist and world beater CJ in 2023. So the data is backing up that, yes, these methods are showing that, and I feel very confident. And then when we put this up for you, not only do you get feedback based on your progress, but also the most up-to-date pieces you can get. So that's really important to us. We've also increased the amount of videos you get access to immediately. So initially it was on a weekly drip system, and we had a lot of feedback from membership that you needed more information sooner. So we've made it to where now you get, I think, 5 times as much content initially. We do love it when you want to go through and learn it and give videos and get feedback. Some coaches just want to audit the courses, meaning you don't want to have to video yourself doing it. That's your personal choice. You just want to get the information. We've also adjusted the courses. So if you do want to just learn as you go, you're able to do that as well. So we've made a bunch of improvements that way for user kind of personalization, I guess, as it were, and also to be able to learn at your own pace and not feeling like, you have to do it every week. You might be back-to-back weekends with tournaments, so you can just go all 1 week and knock a bunch of stuff out. That's your pace here to do it. We've also added a subscription model there for the courses. Again, I got a question about the price of them, so I just want to address that right now as I'm presenting, that we've made it so you can get started for $1. And just like Spotify or CDs, you can go to the store and you can buy albums. That still happens. Some people like me, I have Spotify and I pay a monthly subscription. Same thing we're doing with the university courses of the Poomsae Podium series, that everyone's going to be able to customize these on their own. So those are the first parts. The additional no-cost tools that we've created, one I'm really proud of, because I got to work with this on over a year with a company called Precision Nutrition. They are probably the biggest general nutrition company and coaching company in the world. So I worked with them on a guide called The Essentials of Nutrition for Taekwondo. It is a 100-page PDF that you can get at no cost. I've also made a 60-minute and a shorter 20-minute video training with it that goes along how to do this guide. Everything from, you have your little cadets. They don't need to know how to count every macronutrient in the world, but they do need to know probably these foods are really good for me before practice, and these foods help me recover. So very base level knowledge all the way up to, yes, it is game day preparation and long-term weight management to keep success in the sport, whether you're Poomsae, sparring, breaking, those are going to be very important. So I'll make sure and email that link out to you all again here, but we've had, I think, over 400 downloads just of that guide since I put it out. And again, that was done just as a value add for our membership. Other courses for coaches are effectively coaching Gen Z, right? And creating a culture of belonging that we worked with the USOPC on. Speaking of the live trainings that Coach Lambden did, that Poomsae Podium series, we've also had other live trainings that we store in an area called the Vault. So if you're a part of the university at any level, meaning you've got one course you're in, you're doing the learning with us, we've stored every live training session, whether it's for Poomsae, strength and conditioning, mindset, nutrition, all of these pieces are stored in what we call the Vault. And I think over the live trainings we've done that I know I've hosted, we've had total over 2,000 total combined registrations for them. So it makes me really happy that people are coming to the university to continue to learn. And what's great is I get to look at the data and everyone's learning different stuff. And that was the idea, is that some of you are training with Olympic gold medalists, and some of you here come from eras before me, and some of you are running schools. We have so many different stakeholders in our organization. Want to make sure we can give you what you need to stay ahead of the curve. Upcoming projects for 2023 and 2024. Obviously, right now, the big one is the level 4 launching right now. That's Coach Paul Green's kind of flagship course, our most advanced one yet. You still have access to level 3, the intermediate, and the 2, and then level 1 are kind of beginning modern sport courses are there. Coming up this fall will be Strength and Conditioning 101 for Taekwondo. And this is something I'm personally building. I've worked on this for a long time, just as my own profession, but also specifically for the sport. We're doing it based on things that will be applicable for sparring, Poomsae, and really anyone to get better at this as they go on, just like the modern sport. Yeah, of course, things are going to get more specific to Poomsae and more specific to sparring, more specific to breaking, more specific for longevity. Absolutely. We have those in the works and they're being built right now, but that's where we'll start. For coaches, another course with the USOPC that we're doing that comes due at no cost is called Elevating Your Coaching IQ. It's built. I haven't launched it yet just because there's so much coming. I don't want to just do the thing where nothing happens and then a fire hose hits everyone. So we're intentionally dripping some of these out. There's a modern sport Poomsae Essentials course that we're starting to edit and get worked on. It'll be out in 2024, it looks like. That one is going to coincide with that monthly live Poomsae Podium series starting in January that Coach Landon spoke about. So I'm excited about that. Just so you know, like Coach Landon said, we really want to make sure we're taking care of all the different stakeholders in our organization. The Poomsae people are near and dear to me. My mom was the 3-time world Poomsae champion. So trust me, if you think you don't hear it. You hear it more from your mom than anyone else. So we're dedicated to making sure that everyone gets taken care of here. Let's see, there's a volunteer education course that is being finalized now. So for these events that were being brought to you, we want to make sure they're run as efficiently and professionally as possible. And part of that is making sure that the people helping run our events have the information in advance and not just having to get up early on game day and figure things out. So we've done a lot of work to get those. And then finally, very near and dear project to me is the sport specific visualization for Taekwondo. We do all this stuff of training, right? Recovery, mindset, these pieces, and visualization is an important one that'll be coming to you here in 2024. So as you can tell, I'm real excited about all the things we're offering. I'll type the address up there for all of you. I don't expect to have too many questions on here, but if you have a question, please type it up for me in the chat. The only one I got here is that courses are so expensive on the cost, but we have, I think, about a dozen at least no cost courses set for you. So I hope free works for everyone's budget. And we also hope that you love it so much and see the value that you go, well, this free stuff is this good. Imagine what we're charging for. And we really do believe it's the best stuff in the world to be providing you. Let's see. Katie has a couple things to talk about here real quick before we toss it over to Sherman. Katie, can I bring you back on, please and thank you? Oh, let me give you spotlight. And
Perfect.
There we go. So
Yes.
what would you have to talk about now?
So there were just a few things. I saw some questions in the chat that I did want to address. So somebody asked about Grand Prix final. As of right now, we do not have anything contracted, but when, if and when new events are put onto the 2024 calendar, those will be put on the USA Taekwondo website as soon as we can. So it's not an absolute no, but it is not contracted yet for this year. I know I did get some pathway questions direct message to me. Sherman should be on here in just a few to talk about the pathways for 2024 into 2025. And then there was another question, if registration closes 3 weeks early, when will the brackets be posted? So if you attended Grand Prix final, you will have seen that we put up an estimated division times, as well as estimated report times for Poomsae. The estimated division times were for sparring. That worked out really well, and that is our intention for all the events next year. So again, another reason for the registration to be closed 3 weeks beforehand is that we can plan out when certain divisions are going to be going, so that we can get that information, those schedules out to you ahead of time. And then my last thing, which I didn't have on my list, but definitely something that should be announced for ultra athletes for next year. We are going to 2 divisions rather than 3. This is in the intention of trying to make sure that you do have a fight and that we aren't just doing exhibition matches for those athletes. So that will be starting at team trials, and the divisions will be ages 33 to 45 and then 46 and older. So be sure to look out for that for next year.
Awesome, Katie. Thank you. Can you make Sherman a co-host?
Yes.
I can give him the proper privileges.
Yes.
Presenter, here we go. Well, I appreciate you, Katie, very much. I'm going to put you back into the darkness as I bring over here we go to Coach Sherman Nelson. Let me see if I can find him. And Coach Nelson will be answering a lot of questions here for everyone on pathways, procedures, and this. Coach Nelson, I'll make sure you're unmuted, please. Thank you for being able to be here. We appreciate it. And I know you're going to have a flood of questions here. So again, type them up to me. I'll put my handle up here one more time to @Tim Thackeray. Please send these directly to me so we don't flood the chat with them. And I will let you take it away, sir.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Katie, Stephen. Thank you, everybody, for all the information that has gone forth. I want to thank Donna, Allen, Eric Winiger for the work we do, Christy, for the work you do behind the scenes to kind of bring this all together. And then I'm grateful to Jay and to Steve, who give us the leverage and the leeway to reach out to the membership and do what we deem is a necessary thing. And so having these kind of town halls, we feel are a necessary thing. All right. So, and I apologize. I've had quite the day of family drama, but it's not family trauma, so it's all good. All right. So let's talk about the 2024 pathways. The 2024 pathways. We are going to have our events. Our team trials will take place in January in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. And in those events, we will have 3 events going on at once. So I'll talk about the events and I'll talk about how we get there and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to take some questions. And then I will continue the next part. All right. So where I talk about what we're going to do with national teams, a little bit about 2025, and then a little bit about some standards that we're going to put in place, that we've put in place, that we want to share with our membership writ large. All right. So we have the Olympic team trials. We have our World Championship Poomsae trials and our national team trials. We also have within our Olympic trials are also our Paralympic trials. So we have our Olympic trials and our Paralympians vying for those Olympic spots. Now, for our Olympic divisions, we will decide and announce those divisions who will be competing at those trials. The Olympic process is laid out. Stephen Lambden did a great job in leading our task group to get those procedures done. And not in our words, but in the words of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, these are some of the best selection procedures they've ever seen. That's because we spent about 7 months of going back and forth to make sure that they are first and foremost fair, and then secondly, clear. So those exist on our website. Please go and peruse those. I do not have the time or the bandwidth in setting to walk through our selection procedures line by line, but we will determine which Olympic weights will be vying for those Olympic spots, and the winners of the Olympic trials will go on to compete at the Continental Qualifier. At the Continental Qualifier, that's where we will vie against other persons in those same categories in our hemisphere, and the winners, the finalists, the 2 persons that make it to the finals, will advance to compete at the Olympic Games. Now, there's some other wild card options. There's also an option if you are ranked in the top 6. It's automatic qualifier. But we have a provision that if you are ranked in the top 6 and there's no one else in the top 20, then congratulations, you're on your way to Paris. If you are ranked in the top 6 and there's someone in the top 20, then we have a fight off. Now, some people will ask, why would you do that? Well, we do it because we remember when it wasn't done. And we remember when the system was perverted and inverted in such a way that it didn't matter where you ranked, you weren't going to the Olympics. So now we want to give an opportunity for a person who has travailed and made it to the top 20. They deserve a shot, according to the WT, to be included in an Olympic conversation. So we wrote in a procedure for them to participate in a fight-off. All right. Now, for our Paralympic competitors, I checked with our Paralympic head coach and got some instruction, some information from her so that I don't get it wrong, because I think I would have gotten some of this wrong. But they are looking, number one, we're looking for female para athletes. So if you know any, get in touch with USA Taekwondo, get them in touch. We're looking for classification K44. Now, again, here's a great opportunity. Donna would appreciate this part. Here's a great opportunity to go to our website because it has been redesigned so that it is information friendly, so that you can get all this information. But we're looking for classified K44s in the men's -58, -63, -70, and -80. Now, Evan Medell, as you know, world silver medalist, will probably punch his own ticket to the Paralympic Games. But in those other divisions, we're looking for competitors. So if you want more information about para, please go to our website, our newly designed website that is ergonomically friendly and get the information that you need. All right, so we're also going to have, that's the Olympic trials. We're also going to have at the team trials event in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, the Poomsae trials for the World Championships. It's coming up in 2024. I believe it's in Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'm sure one of you will correct me. And so the Poomsae athletes who have qualified for the Poomsae team trials will come out and compete over the course of 3 days. And we will know at the end, the conclusion of these trials, who the dynamic team we are sending to compete at the World Championships will be. We have, listen, y'all, I remember the beginning days of Sport Poomsae and where our team has ascended. Kudos to our coaching staff, our leadership, Barbara Brand, our athletes, our parents support us on the work that you're doing. Continue to do great work. Last but certainly not least, we will also be having team trials for the Pan Am Championships. Now, this is for these adult males who are males and females, but adult senior black belts who are planning to compete in adult competition. And this Pan Am Championships is the continental event that we have typically the same year as the Olympic Games. Now, for the Pan Am Championships, we'll be competing in 8 men and 8 female divisions. We will compete across all 8 divisions, not just the Olympic divisions. And so competitors will be meeting to compete and vying for those spots. Now, if there is an athlete ranked in the top 6 in a WT Olympic or world division, that athlete will automatically be named to the team. So the competitors are competing to be an alternate. But 2023 has proven the need for us to have alternates in place, because we have people who competed in 2023 and didn't know that they would that injuries would happen, that random events would happen, and they would be called up, and they were called up and they were ready for action because they went into it not competing as an alternate, but competing to be ready in case their number is called. So those are the 3 team trial events that we have going on. Now, there are a number of questions. I'm sure these are probably where the dearth of the questions will come that Tim is asking about how do we qualify. So let me clarify a point I made. The third set of team trials. So we have Olympic team trials, we have Poomsae team trials, and we have national team trials. It's not just for the Pan Am Games, Pan Am Championships. It's also for our junior and cadet and ultra national teams. The events that those athletes will be going to, our junior athletes will be going to Junior World Championships. It is in Korea in the 3rd quarter of this year or 4th quarter of this year. Cadets, there is no event named. We are working on an event. Ultras, there is no event named. We are working on a remediation for that. You will get announcements about that in the coming month as we go into our off season, which is typically November and December. You will get flooded with information about things that'll be coming around the pike. All right. So the team trials is for the Olympics, those athletes who are qualified going to the Olympic Games, who want to go to compete to go to the Olympic Games, Poomsae athletes going to Poomsae Worlds in Hong Kong, and athletes who want to make the 2024 national team in cadet, junior, senior, and ultra. The seniors we know are going to the Pan Am Championships. The juniors are going to the Junior World Championships. We're not sure where cadets and ultras are going, so you guys will have to stay tuned. All right, so if there are questions, let's answer questions about this part, and then I will jump into the next part. So Tim, I know Tim will come back in and help moderate this.
Coming on right now. 1 second.
Somehow my chat is maximized to the whole screen. Wow, that's large. Okay.
Let me get this for you. A couple questions for you real quick here, Coach. Let's see. One question on the WT dates. So that's something I said they want to know the World Poomsae Championship dates. I said we don't control that, unfortunately. I know it'll be later in 2024. Unless you happen to know offhand or someone else, that'd be on the WT website. Correct.
And the moment we know, we will post that information, because as soon as we know, we want you to know. But when we don't know, we don't want to give you a wrong date and have you set some bad expectations.
100%. Those are always things that we say, like, we can't change the rules. They set those. We have to play with that. And when they make it last minute, then everything always rolls downhill. So we catch it, but we want to make sure membership knows it and get these things out as quickly as we can properly do. Next question for you: team trial criteria for aging up cadets. Can you explain how that works? And if that's, I believe that's in your domain here.
Yes. And so, yeah, let's talk about aging up. So, and for those who might not know what we're talking about, in the cadet division and in the junior division, well, actually, technically in the youth division as well, but we're not fighting youth at this team trials. An athlete who is cadet is 12 to 14. But if next year they will be 15, they would be a junior. So if these team trials in 2024 are for the next year, then that athlete is technically aging up, and they will want to compete in the junior trials. Our process for this, and there's been a lot of deliberation, and I please don't believe that we arbitrarily arrive at a decision by picking it out of a hat, or somebody makes a decision in a silo. This is a conversation with the high performance staff, which is Paul Green. This is Stephen Lambden, Eric, Barbara Brand, me. We even bounce questions off people like Tim, who's a former national team member, high achieving athlete, but also a coach, and can give us some positive understanding about what's going on. Last year, this question came up a lot. And the question was, how come we don't allow kids who are moving up, if they were successful at one division, the chance to compete at another division? And the biggest reason is always going to be safety. And I know people say, yeah, but my kid is, let's say we're talking about a youth transitioning to cadet. Well, I have a youth and he's really good and he beats all the youth and he could be able to beat the cadets. He could, unless he was fighting a kid about to be 14 who just happened to be really good, who could beat juniors. And we chose not to allow to have age be the criteria, to be the primary determining factor into getting into these competitions. Now, I can tell you offhand, there will always be somebody say, yeah, but I have a kid who's an outlier. You're absolutely right. And there will always be outliers, but we don't play to the outlier. We have to play to the average. And the average cadet aging up is not necessarily ready to compete at the next level. And I say this having watched cadets, juniors, senior world championships for the last 20 years. I'm telling you, they are not as ready as you might believe. But it's okay for you to believe it. But us as an organization, we have to take a one step back and we have to look safety first and think, what is the best priority? So in this conversation, we said, all right, well, this year we'll make an addendum. If an athlete is the dominant athlete, wins the Grand Prix final, we'll take that gold medalist because they've proven that they can compete at this really high level, and we will allow that person to compete at the trials. It still is a safety risk. It still is a risk. And I will be at trials looking at all of these cadets who age up and youth who age up with the side eye, making sure that they are not hurt. But we acquiesced to a degree, and we gave in some. And I thought that would be met with, oh, okay, cool. We'll see how it goes. But it wasn't met with that. It was met with, no, we wanted you to acquiesce all the way and so that's probably not going to happen. So what we've come up with is the Grand Prix gold medalist or the dominant athlete can participate in the next year's trial. And this is a trial basis. We will look at how this works. If the athletes, we don't see injury, we see success on athlete. And I don't mean success, they have to win the team trials. I mean, to be able to compete safely. If we see that it trends towards that, then we will reconsider. But we had to do our due diligence to at least give ourselves the opportunity to look at what does a little bit of empirical evidence look like. And again, I know there are people who say, well, we think these kids need this chance. I hear you and I understand you. And I understand what a parent sounds like. I understand what a coach sounds like. And now I have to understand what an administrator sounds like. And I've played all of these roles. And please believe, as an organization, we are not diminishing your children's Olympic dreams. That is not our goal. That is not our plan. Our goal is to keep your kids as safe as possible. As Tim alluded to, and we got to pepper this throughout the conversation. If the WT changes rules, we just have to adjust. And we don't get, we're an A-rated member nation. So we make the adjustment. We try to trickle it down to you guys. But if they said, you know, we'll allow kids to compete without headgear, we would say we're not going to allow our kids to compete because we don't believe that that is safe. But please know, moms and dads, coaches, that there are parents out here who would send their kids no matter what. And I'm not faulting them. That's what they do with their children. As an organization, we have to choose safety first. And we think this was the better choice. And we'll look at what the results say this year to determine our choice moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully that was clarified there. One other question for you before we transition to the next part of your presentation. Okay. Where can people find information about this example here is for wild cards for individual events at PUMSE team trials, but I know all that's put together there of team trials. Is there a specific site you would point everyone to go, here's how this, you know, like you said, we have the mass of our membership, trying to solve everything for there, and then also make sure the high performers are taken care of and addressed. So where could people here find information about
now I want to be clear, wild cards for PUMSE
Yes, sir. This is the question. The question specifically was, how do wildcards work for individual events at PUMSE team trials? I'm not sure if that's something that we're prepared to address here.
Yeah, I'm not even aware of that being a thing. But okay, if it is, check our pathways.
I have the link right here. I'm going to post for everyone so you can do it. Thank you so much for the EW for sending that to me right here. And I think Coach Lambden got it. And this is the link. I would save it in your browser because these do come up all the time there. That everyone's going to have a specific question about procedures.
Sure, and please feel free to email us after this because this is not meant to be we'll answer your questions right now and then shut up and beat it. This is we want to answer your question, and if we can't answer it now, we'll go try to find you an answer. And so rather than give you some mumbo jumbo, I will tell you to check the pathways, and then we'll check them. And if that's the thing, hopefully our Barbara Brand will be able to chime in and give us some direction, or one of our national team, PUMSE national team coaches can chime in and give us some direction.
Absolutely. Awesome, sir. Well, that's the questions we have on this part. I'll turn it back over to you for the next.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
And again, there'll be another Q. We'll take more questions a little later. So those are the events that are happening. But what do we want to see happen in 2024 from a national team perspective? One of the things we want to do is we want to promote training and education. We sent our cadets to the cadet worlds this year, and the height weight thing was like it's a wild scene, man. But our athletes weathered the storm. Our coaches weathered the storm. So they went and they performed well. We got, I think, 4 bronze medals, which is more medals than we've ever accomplished at the cadet level. So kudos to those athletes first, their parents, and then those coaches. But one of the reasons why we believe our athletes had more success was because of a better relationship with their coaches. Now, what you will hear in our high performance conversations is relationships produce results. It isn't just the training, it's the relationship between the athlete and the coach, between the athlete and the parent, between the athlete and the support staff. and oddly enough, between the athlete and themselves. Healthy relationships produce results. And so we assembled a coaching staff in January. They met their athletes at the team trials, and they formed relationships with them, and they reached out to them. They made connections, phone calls. They did all of the things. They had weekly check-ins scheduled. They had camps. We had a junior team camp. I think we had at least one cadet camp, and they built a relationship. So when athletes got out on the mat and they got put in front of competition, they trusted who was in their chair. They trusted who they leaned on. And one of the things we want to do this year is to do that again. We want to create a coaching pool. Again, you will see invitations, you'll see letters, you'll see all of that kind of stuff emailed out. Well, not emailed out, posted online for you to jump in if you want to be a part of this process. But we want to get our coaches identified. We want to get them working with these athletes, and we want to get them forming healthy relationships, because relationships produce results. That's at the cadet and junior level. That's at the senior level. That's at the ultra level. That's what our PUMSE national team does with this coaching staff. We want to begin to create results that are driven by and influenced and empowered by healthy relationships. So we will be announcing, one of the things we'll be announcing in 2024 is a coaching pool again, pool of coaches, and we'll list all the criteria and all that kind of stuff and the requirements, et cetera. We'll list all of that. Another thing we're going to do in 2024 is create an additional social media stream to highlight our national team. So if you go to USA Taekwondo right now and you look at our social media, and if you're not aware, social media is the currency of exchange and interaction in 2023. And if you say, well, it shouldn't be, we should just still be printing out flyers. Okay, that's cool, but we're not. We're not going to print flyers. We're going to put information on social media platforms. But if you look at USA Taekwondo social media platform, it's right now business, because we have a membership base that's not the 3% of our athletes who are our national teams. So the other 97% of our people are trying to figure out how to get to the level up camps. They're trying to get to the education. They're trying to get to our sponsors and get equipment and gear and get to camp and get registered and get their safe. They're trying to get all the things necessary for USA Taekwondo to thrive. And we want that to be the place. But we also want to create a separate stream of social media where we're just posting reels and clips. It is designed to engage and entice sponsors and marketing towards our phenomenal athletes, PUMSE athletes, sparring athletes, para athletes, ultra athletes. We want to show that the United States is still the hit factory. We are cranking out people who crank out hits. And that's what we want to do with a separate social media thread. So you'll hear about that. It'll tie into our team trials. We're going to make some distinctions for our national teams that we haven't done in a really long time. We want to go back to some things that we did well way back in the day that we think will serve us well today. Now that's some of the things, couple of the things we want to do in 2024. Here's where I beg your patience, because 2024 is kind of a hybrid year. And in working with our event staff, Christy and Katie, they are kind, and Mike, they are kind to put up with me because I harass them about the synergy between high performance and events, because we have to work hand in hand to make the organization flow. So we are moving away from more regional events. That's why there are only 2 this year, and getting back to more state level events. But in order to do that, we have to get our states up to a competent standard. Now we have about 20 states that are killing it. But last time I checked, we have 50 states in the United States. So we have 20 that are killing it. We might have 30 that are being killed. So we need to get those on life support and resuscitate them and get them going. We want to get the state associations going. we want to get back to a simple pipeline for you. Here in 2025, state championship, national championship. That's it. All right. So you go to your state, you go to your national championship. There will be camps. There will be other ways to interact. If you're a color belt, papam, nationals is going to be the party for you. That's it. But if you're a black belt, then we're going to have Grand Prix, which is why we renamed our regional qualifiers. We're going to have Grand Prix where we invite top-ranked black belts, and then a Grand Prix final. And it will start to look more like the WT without the overlaying of events, with proper space in between. But it will look like what we are going to compete at. All right. It will start to mirror internally what externally our athletes are going out to face. So 2024 is a hybrid year. So we still have some states, we still have regional qualifiers. We have a Grand Prix final this year. Next year, 25, we have a number of changes that we're putting in slowly but surely that will take us back to, again, a model that was successful, but it was successful at a time. Now we've made the proper adjustment so that it can be successful in this time. And please know that that is necessary for the organization's health. We can't just go hardcore 180 degrees without the proper precautions, or else everybody gets whiplash. And we don't want that. So we want to make those substantive changes, but we have to make them gradual. And I know people are clamoring, but we should get back to like it was. Well, I always wonder which like it was, because it was like it was a lot of different wases. It was like it was in the early 2000s, and then in the 90s, and then in the early 90s, which is very different than the late 90s, and then the late 80s and the early 80s. I'm dating myself because I was around in most of those eras. We want to get back to the point where good, clean competition happens. Athletes are empowered. Athletes are informed. Parents are incorporated and involved. Dojang, grandmasters, coaches, states, everybody comes together so that the product that we put forth at the end of the day is an excellent Team USA. That's our goal for 2025. We want to put all the infighting aside, all the partitions, all the little divisions that people have erected for us. At the end of the day, we want to put forward the best product, the best Team USA, because 2028 is coming. The Olympics are coming to LA in 2028. We are going to host them. We are going to put out athletes at those Olympic Games, and our goal must be to dominate, devastate, demonstrate, illustrate, any other 8 that you want to add that rhymes with 28. We want to do all that. That has to start now. All right. So that's the change that people have been talking about, and we've been talking. I've talked to a lot of you about these changes, and we agree that they should happen, but they just couldn't happen overnight. But we're going to make incremental change, and it is going to be sustainable change, because we don't want to change and have to change back. Because again, we're back to the whiplash and everybody walking around with a neck brace, and that's not a good look. All right. Separation of our social media threads, changes to our processes. I don't want to unveil all the things that we're going to give out to our national teams, but it's going to be dope. So if you have an athlete at the team trials, you want to tell them to win team trials, because there's not going to be anything like the first time. I think that's it. One more thing I want to talk about, and then I'll go back to questions, because I don't want to belabor this. We're going to post online this week some standards of professionalism. And they kind of address three areas. How we interact with each other, meaning how USA Taekwondo wants to interact with athletes. And in most cases, this also means coaches and parents, club owners. How we manage training, and then how we manage ourselves. So we're going in this document, and it's not super lengthy, but it talks about how respect is a mutual thing that has to be. We've got to stop saying people have to earn our respect. We should give people respect because they're people. people can earn access, but they shouldn't have to earn respect. I can respect you as a person, even if you're not really the nicest, coolest person. But the not being nicest, coolest may inhibit your access, but doesn't diminish my respect for you. So we have respect going and flowing in both directions. We treat each other as meaningful stakeholders, that we're all in this together. And then how do we view training? What does it mean to train at a high level? We're going to be looking at restructuring our academy process. So again, there will be information out about if you want to be an academy athlete. But what does it mean to be an academy athlete? Because that's why we want to get this out, because you might think you want it till you know what the ask is. And then thirdly, it talks with how do you deal with yourself? How do you relate to yourself? How do you manage your weight? How do you manage your timeliness, your punctuality, your professionalism? 3 areas that we as an organization are growing in. We are not full grown yet, but we are definitely growing. We are making meaningful strides in these areas. And we want to share this with our membership so that you can come along us and we can make these strides collaboratively and simultaneously so we can all get there together. All right, so we'll post that later this week. It'll be on our website. Go check it out. Go take a look. And then stay tuned. There will be a dearth of information that we will put out over the next 60 days that will give you action steps for all the things that I've mentioned today. And if you forget anything, go back and rewatch this when it's posted online and take notes. And if you have questions, you can email me, snelson@usatkd.org. And Tim, that is it. Let's go back to the Q&A.
Let's go. That was awesome. And I think you addressed most of the questions that came up here. Some are, I think we can kind of just quickly address for you. Some questions about team trial qualification criteria for 2024-25. Those are probably a framework of them, but those are not completed yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, for next year, they aren't complete yet.
There's no way. We're always working on steps of them.
But we're gonna, and see, this is so, there's so much we get to learn in this part, Tim, is we'll look at how well these were understood and how well what result did they produce. And see, it doesn't have to be recreated that much for the next year. It's just, okay, change some dates, fix a couple things that were wrong, and then let's get those out. So hopefully mid-year, we can get the processes out for 25.
That's part of that optimization process where we're literally looking for an iterative feedback loop. What things worked well? Let's keep as much of that as possible for consistency. The parts that we do hear constructive criticism about, everyone gets together and tries to find a proper solution. And then also know that there are, like we mentioned before, the variables that WT throws into the equation does create necessary. We can't just say it'll be the same. If they said, yes, the rules are the same for 4 years, here it is, we could probably do that, but we know that's not the case.
But we know they are never, ever going to say,
and we are bound by having to follow US OPC rules in our selection procedures. You know, I mean, you and I could sit together and knock them out right now, but they wouldn't be street legal.
Right.
So that's just to be totally transparent. We will be doing a behind the music documentary on the selection procedures, which I think would be informative for everyone. So I appreciate that question. I think there's one other question for that's the main question there for that. So I think unless you have anything to wrap up with, I'd like to pull you on here, Coach Stephen Landon, Coach Miss Katie, back up to the screen if I can for final Q&A. You can just type them to me quickly here and privately so I can sort through them. Otherwise, if everyone does it together, here we go. There, let me get Stephen out of spotlight. Let me get Katie out of spotlight.
Why?
I think the important part is that we're all very serious. So.
Oh, Lord.
Awesome. Well, we got Arizona. We got from the state of Arizona. They say thank you. So thank you for Arizona. That's on behalf of the state. So great job. It is a real honor to get to do this. And hopefully it is helpful. We'd love to do it more. There's, again, I can speak on behalf of everyone I've spoken and work with at USAT that nothing more we want to do than communicate clearly and effectively with everyone. So opportunities like this and you all staying on for 100 minutes now, really, we know, you know, Taekwondo isn't basketball. There's not 80 million people that do it. We know the people that continue to do it really love our sport, love practicing it, are lifers. If you're like us, you're lifers. There's just what it is. So thank you for that. I got one question here, and I think it's an easy yes, but I'll just say it out loud. Can we host another town hall for state associations? Everyone game? I don't know what I'll be involved in that, but I'd love to get, like Katie said, to get more people involved. You
Yes.
take that?
Yes.
I say yes. Like,
So that
we'll
is
talk to Tondo all
definitely,
day.
yeah, that's definitely in the pipeline. And that's what we will be reaching out to all the presidents this week with the sanctioning manual and the state policy manual. And then if you are interested, if your state doesn't have a state association, and you know someone who's interested in starting it, please just have them reach out to the national office. There's things through the board that they would have to do to get sanctioned and get set up, but more than happy to set something like that up, and also one-on-one Zoom calls with people if they have specific questions. Just reach out to me.
Yeah, there's no amount of schedule we couldn't open up to help enroll our membership in everything we're working on, and to know that we're coming from a place of really wanting to serve you all as well as we can. We all came up through this. I mean, Coach Nelson came up through USAT and USTU back then. Stephen did when he was so little. We had to be careful not to hurt him there. So we're people that are in this. There's a reason we're here. The reason you're all here.
He was tender. He was tender.
Right? Yep, very. Yeah.
How times have changed.
Mr. Professor, a question here. Is there an official process to getting, it looks like you addressed it. I just want to say it for the scripts when people watch this, because we will try and timestamp these questions like Huberman Lab as well. Is there an official process for getting a state back involved with USAT? And who would contact there? Again, I know you addressed it, but let's just.
So all of that can be found on the website. I don't know exactly where, but we will make sure that we figure that out and put it out there. But I know that there is a process through the board that the states have to go through. So please reach out to me via email. I'll get all the information gathered together of how you go about that process. And then I will send that information back out to you.
Awesome, Katie. Thank you. Another question says, thank you for hosting this. It was very informative and much needed town hall. Do you plan on having these more often? Yes.
We would like to. Yeah, definitely.
It's helpful. Yeah, we want to do the same thing. We want to do more things that are value adds for everyone. We know your time is, you're going from tournament to tournament, practice to practice. So we don't want to do it too much where there's, no critical mass, but enough that people can co-learn from all the different questions, and we can also understand how to best serve everyone here. Right? Fair?
Yeah,
time for maybe one more question here, if anyone has one. If there's anything you want to add after reflection of your presentation, Katie, Stephen, Sherman, give you one kind of final thing to do here if anyone wants to take the floor.
I'll just say I'm really excited for 2024 and to implement all the changes that we made this year that were reflected at our Grand Prix final. Lots of new things down the pipeline, and trying to get more information out to you guys sooner so that you're prepared for your competition. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Can't make any promises, but we definitely take everybody's opinion into account and try to make the changes where we can make them.
Great. And then if everyone could just type your emails for Coach Nelson, Coach Lambden, and Katie into the chat here. Give us some time, those of you watching this live. We're going to get this chopped up properly so we can get it onto, I believe, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you love to watch the recaps of your town halls. We'll get it up there. So give us a few days to do that. We'll email this out to the membership as well. But those are the best ways you can contact slambden at USATKD.org, K Cleveland, and S Nelson. Those are the emails right there for everyone. And if you have any final questions, we appreciate it.
I do have one final thing.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
I know the 23rd anniversary of my 21st birthday. So.
There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say it.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, the next town hall we'll get to unwrap a new gift, and I'll do my best to not.
We'll do the next one around somebody else's birthday. I won't name their names.
Well, again,
his name rhymes with Neven Gramden.
Neven Gramden.
Yeah, we'll do.
We'll mine was yesterday also. So
too bad.
Well, again, thank you all again on behalf of USA TKD. Thank you guys so much for being on here and engaging with us, asking open and honest questions with us helps us a ton. And thank you for being a part of this organization. We look forward to an awesome 2024 and obviously beyond.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
All
Thanks,
right.
Tom.